Oh, that was stupid, but it works.
That's in the wrong spot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nickham, Nest Mortgage Group.
And today, we do not have a guest. I'll be honest. I can't remember the last time it was just you and me. January?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't that the booze, titties, and boat show that we did?
We didn't have one of those.
Okay.
That would be great viewing, however.
It would be.
It might be our highest view ever.
I'd like to see what you add into the screens.
Man, I feel like I could go on for days just with that.
I do too. I don't really like boats though.
That's okay. Neither do I. Well, here we go. Just you and me, kid. Cheers to you. Very simply, as he sniffs his clear liquid, I've got Coors Light because I'm out of cool beers at my house. So here we are.
And I'm drinking
Agua Sol.
Agua Sol. Very good tequila that they sent to me. Basically,
sun water.
Sun water. And because the plant needs a lot of sun to grow.
Well, yeah, photosynthesis.
And it looks like a water bottle. I really
like
it does that part. And I'm going to do some reviews on it. It did have a nice pop sound.
Who makes Agua Sol?
Agua Sol makes it.
Oh, okay.
It comes out of NOM 11.
That's what I was looking for, I think.
The Cascawin Distillery in El Renal. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's
well, fantastic.
Yeah.
So viewers out there won't know unless we say something. We're recording this a week prior to when we normally would be getting together because normal recording, you're going to be down in Mexico again.
I will be in Mexico.
What is going on in Mexico this time?
Well, introducing a friend who owns a tequila brand to some master distillers because she may not be incredibly happy where her tequila is currently being made. So we're going to spend some time with Ileana Partida and Jimmy Salza and Oscar Vazquez and Renee Atanasio and Sergio Cruz.
Sergio! Well, that's great. And I do know this person you're going down there with, and so might some of the people out there who watch our show regularly, but that sounds pretty exciting.
I'm pretty stoked. Yeah.
So you are, in some way, shape, or form, a part of the creation of this tequila.
Yeah, just kind of giving her advice when she asks and helping maybe make sure it's a great profile. The coolest story is... I don't know if I told you this, but Oscar Vazquez Camarena, who is a master distiller of multiple different tequilas. He's the master blender on Ensuedo. And we're going to see him at NOM 1412 on Saturday, or actually on Friday. And we fly in on Thursday. And I told him we were meeting with Ileana Partida and Jimmy Salsa. And he's like, do you have a driver? And I'm just, yeah, I haven't set that up yet, but I've got a couple people to call. And he said, I'd really love to meet them. Can I be your driver? So
super cool.
So our driver not only is a master distiller that we're visiting, but he's going to come and meet he's never met some of the people that I know. And he's like super fired up about meeting them. So
would you say that these master distillers down in that area of the world, are they kind of like celebrities, or you just talk about them like they're celebrities? Because I feel Sergio Cruz is a celebrity.
Yeah, Sergio Cruz is definitely, they talk about how he is the master behind what he does, but so's Felipe Camarena of G4 and Carlos of El Tesoro and Tapatito and Ocho. And so they're kind of, celebrities to us tequila nerds.
Sure.
But to the people in the business, they're just people that do this for a living, and do very well at it. And it's weird. I used to look at like some of these people as celebrities, but the more I speak with them and get to hang out with them now, that I don't look at them as celebrities. They're more like friends. Like,
yeah,
let's go, hang out. Like Jimmy sent me a message this morning and said, hey, do you have evening plans? Because why don't we go out to the ranch and we'll have some different profiles of tequila and watch the sunset in the mountains and then go to this restaurant in town. We're like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, and I did an interview with him this Monday, so it'll come out next week. So this probably right before this comes out.
Sure.
And, he explains how the name salsa, right, which is a pretty famous tequila name, right? It's Cuervo, Salsa, Herradura, Orandine. Those are the original tequilas.
Okay.
He tells the story of how where he is in that tree to all the way back to the 1870s and how they made tequila, and like it's so awesome, the history, you know. And of course, he is I think a fourth cousin. I'd have to go back and watch. I forget the numbers because he did it so fast. But either fourth or yeah, I think it's fourth cousin. No, third. He's third cousin. Sorry, third cousin with Guillermo, who owns Fortaleza.
Well, okay.
You know, he talked about how their lines come down. It's like, okay, this is crazy. And so then when I first heard about him, I'm like, oh man, that's so awesome. But then you find out he's like, hey, do you want dinner? Let's just hang out. Like he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty cool. But it's going to be a fun trip, and we're going to talk to some great people and probably have some great tequila.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Gonna have a good time. How many days you gonna be down there?
Where's just a quick 4-day trip? Flying on Thursday, fly home on Sunday.
All right.
Now, aren't you out of town too?
Well, yes, it would not have interfered with the recording on our normal night. Not that that's significant. I, along with two friends and my dad, are heading to the practice round on Tuesday of the Masters down in Augusta, Georgia, which is I think it's kind of the mecca for golf fans to one day be able to get there, because it's such a private golf course. The only time you really ever get to see it is the days that the Masters is on TV, and they make such a big deal out of it, and to me, a bit overdone, but you know, whatever. And otherwise, the only access you have to get onto the grounds is by being invited by a member, unless you are a member, of course. And membership is very limited.
Probably not going to happen.
No, very unlikely.
Okay.
And so, you know, the way that getting tickets for the Masters works is every year you have to reapply to potentially get drawn out of the lottery to get tickets. And you can request on practice days, which are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can get a maximum of 4 tickets. The event rounds, which is Thursday through Sunday, you get a maximum of 2 per day. And so you don't know what you could possibly be drawn for. So you put in how many tickets you would want if you were chosen. And for the first time ever, I was selected for a Tuesday practice round. So there's 4 of us going down there. We're driving down Monday and can spend all day at the course, weather permitting, on Tuesday, and drive back on Wednesday.
That's pretty cool.
I am super excited. And, you know, it's just one of those, an interesting rule that they have there is cell phones are not allowed.
Yeah, I can never go.
Right. And that doesn't matter if it's a practice round or championship round, you cannot bring in a cell phone. And so I had to dig out the old digital camera. I had to order an SD card because I didn't have one that functioned. And I'm good to go because you can bring a camera. So I'll have my camera. I'll be taking videos and, you know, still shots. It's going to be, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Doesn't look like we may be out of luck, though, because there is some rain expected Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we'll see. But I actually heard this today. Somebody who had gone there before for a practice round, also, it got rained out. And after about 3 hours of waiting, they said that anybody who had tickets for that day would automatically be granted tickets for practice round the next year. And they would just send an email to whoever had those tickets. No, because they have tickets for every day already given away. So, you know, I'm okay with that if that winds up happening, because, you know, I'll still get to see some of it and, you know, just plan to go again next year. It's okay.
So if you could stand at the tee box and yell something out that would go on TV, what would you yell?
That's honestly something I've never considered, because people do yell some dumb stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people yell mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes?
Yeah. There's just dumb things people say, and that is something I would never do. It's never crossed my mind.
So you wouldn't yell
something.
Real Estate Makes Us Drink podcast.
I would not. You know, might be the overly stupid, very typical, get in the hole from the tee box.
What if you yelled out our podcast name and next thing you know, we were like Pat McAfee level?
Ooh. It seems very unlikely.
You just walk around Augusta yelling out everywhere you go now.
Speaking of Pat McAfee, I saw a blurb on TikTok today where he was talking about the Coastal Carolina University athletic director put out a video that at all of their home football games this coming season, concessions are 100% free.
He's paying for them all.
Some way, somehow, the athletic budget is covering it. And I hear that, and I feel like they took that from the Savannah Bananas, because that's how they've always done their thing. Free concessions is just all inclusive. Now, McAfee was saying, "Oh, we're going to test this out. Like, there's got to be a limit." And the way that they made the video, the gentleman was like, "So could I get 50 hot dogs?" He goes, "Absolutely." So now I'm sure beer is not included, but soft drinks, popcorn, hot dogs. I was like, pretty good idea.
Holiday World does it with free drinks.
That is correct. Free sunscreen and free soda.
Sunscreen.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't need any sunscreen.
No.
Nope.
Not a sunscreen guy.
So if you could get at Augusta, all the pros that have ever played, not just the today people, but going all the way back in history, who would be the biggest honor to be hit by one of their balls?
Yeah. I'd probably say Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones? I don't know who Bobby Jones is.
He's actually the one who created the Masters. And Bobby Jones is well regarded as a genuinely very nice person, very considerate. And I think that if he were to hit somebody with a golf ball, he might hang out with you until you felt better. That kind of guy. So, yeah, I'd say Bobby Jones.
So you'd take one of Bob Jones' balls to the face.
It's funny you bring that up, because my dad and I back in 2012 went to the PGA Championship down in Louisville. It's funny, I talked about this on a previous episode, but we were watching Tiger Woods tee off from like the middle of the fairway, and he hadn't played in a while, so his game wasn't at the top of his game in 2012. But either way, he ripped one, pulled it, went over the crowd, probably no more than 15 feet above people's heads, and I was right over there. So it was kind of like, oh man.
And the Perkins waitress caught it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So that
if you don't know the reference, Google that.
Okay.
You know the reference, don't you?
I don't. Nope, never mind. Yes, I do.
No, you do.
Yep, I do. I've actually been hit by a line drive golf ball, and it was one of the worst feelings ever. I was driving a golf cart playing, and two guys were on the tee box over here to the left, which we really couldn't see because there were a bunch of trees, and he just hit this low line drive.
He yelled, "Watch this."
Honestly, didn't yell a thing.
No, he just said it to his buddy.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, he just pull hooked it, and it hit the left side of my knee. If it had gone like an inch or two to the right, probably would have shattered my kneecap.
Wow.
And I get out of the cart. I'm kind of dancing around, screaming. Buddy of mine in the cart falls out of the cart laughing.
Yep.
I was like, son of a... And the guy didn't even offer to buy me a beer. Nothing.
Beer. That's what are you doing?
Like,
did you know I was going to hit the ball over there?
Nothing from that guy, son of a bitch. Yeah. Good times.
That's awesome. I don't have any good golf stories.
No, that's okay.
I'm bad at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Going to Augusta would be cool, though. That would be neat.
Yeah. Truly looking forward to it. There's, as a big sports guy, there are several events that I've wanted to go to in my life. I've been to NCAA championship, great event. I've been to several cool golf events. The Masters is one of those, on the list. Like, yeah, I like to do that. I don't like the term bucket list, to be honest, but I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about. So
why not? What's wrong with the
I don't know. I just don't really care for the term.
So
maybe it's overused.
List of things you want to do before you're gone?
Yeah, that
better.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
You do like to complicate things sometimes. Bucket list sounds pretty simple. That's the list of things that have to be completed before a group of people carry my casket.
Or I could just say something I really want to do.
This is true. Yeah. What about a Super Bowl?
That is still on the list of things I want to do and have not been able to. When the Colts made it the first time back in 2006, I was, in my estimation, very close to buying a ticket and going.
Yeah.
Would have been, I don't know, probably $8,000 or $9,000. I had places to stay, so it was really just a matter of getting there, going to the event would have been awesome, and I was like, this may never happen again. Like, come on. there's opportunity here, and Stephanie was not going for it. So that hasn't happened, I would say, yet, because that really is something I'd like to do someday.
It's a great event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
I know.
I've been to Super Bowl, NCAA championship.
Which NCAA championship did you get? One in Indy?
I went to the Final Four thing in Indy one year.
Okay.
Maybe North Carolina.
Okay.
Long time ago. In the Hoosier Dome, I believe.
No way.
It may have been in Lucas Oil, but I don't know. I think it was in the Hoosier Dome.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay.
it was the RCA Dome.
Oh, was it?
Then,
That's okay.
The best event, though, that I've ever been to, the most exciting, coolest event, I still believe today, is the start of the Indianapolis 500.
Okay.
There's nothing.
Oddly enough, never attended.
Yeah, that's. I think everybody should have that on their things to do before a group of people carry your casket.
That was funny until you said cactus.
I know. Well, gotta watch out for the pricks.
That you do.
It's something to see the size of it.
Yeah.
The amount of people, and just the beginning, all the pomp and circumstance. When they play taps and you're in a place where there's 250,000 people and you could hear somebody drop a quarter and taps goes on, and the national anthem and the flyover, and then the sound of the cars when I mean, you don't have to be a race fan to go, holy crap, that was really cool.
Yeah, like I said, I've never been there. I can absolutely appreciate what you're talking about, and perhaps someday I'll get there.
Yeah, it's one you should do. It's a pretty neat event to go to.
Yeah. All right.
I think the Daytona 500 is another one of those like iconic events that,
yeah,
it's a really huge event. It's
one of those,
Florida in February.
Indianapolis, the Indy 500 is more appealing because we live here. I don't have the appeal for Daytona just because it's nowhere near here, and I'm like, I wouldn't really travel to go to that. But Indy, it's right here.
It is in Florida in February.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It can be.
Yeah,
it can also be shitty. Okay, this is a good opportunity for you fans at home who have stuck around for this exciting conversation to drop us a comment and let us know what is a sports bucket list thing you would like to attend.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
and let's put another one out there because we love having guests.
Oh, okay.
Do we not?
We do.
But we're looking for guests that have some really defined level of success in what they do. Right? Nothing like Brian and I, just plugging away trying to make it.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody that's, got a business that's really thriving, or they do something that really helps the community. Maybe they're doing a lot of work in philanthropy. There you go. I don't know why I can't say that word very well, but so if you have somebody that you think would be really great for the show,
yep,
put them in the comments.
And again, if you've seen our show a number of times, yes, we do have guests that focus on some aspect having to do with real estate. That's the name of the show. But we also have episodes that we call the Success Happy Hour, and that is open to interpretation. We've had local sports radio talk show, great story to tell. We've had your friend Chris, who started at the bottom of a paper company and now runs, all of North America for said paper company, and has nothing to do with real estate.
The voice of the Indianapolis Colts.
We've had Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, and
Query, the voice of the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah. So, we've had a number of people and from all walks, and that's what we're looking for. Not going to say I don't like talking about the real estate stuff, but I'll be honest, I like the Success Happy Hours maybe better just because I love hearing people's stories.
I do too. That's my whole tequila thing is about. It's the story behind it. Who cares what rates are doing? I mean, they're high.
That's right. Right. Home prices, they're high.
Yeah. If you ask that question, gosh, my nose itches for some reason.
Well, at least you're not,
got that
sneezing.
Cut that piece out. If you ask me if I could tell you what a picture of interest rates look like, it's Snoop Dogg. They're high.
Oh, yeah, that's well played.
And if you ask me to give you a picture of what real estate looks like, it's a picture of Willie Nelson. He too is
also high.
Yeah. Yeah. So But there are a few things, I guess, to talk about.
Okay. What do you got?
There's a couple changes that have recently happened. FHA just recently said that you have to be either a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident alien, or the proper visa, which I'm not going to go through those today, but the change is you used to be able to get what's called a work card,
Yeah.
an EAD card. And that employment authorization
Document?
document, there you go. That's
Go with that.
probably right. We did say probably, so you don't have to put in the comments we were wrong. Um,
We don't get that many comments.
I know. I like to act like we do. So you no longer can have just a valid EAD card. So
Okay.
it kind of changes up who can buy a house. And then there's a lot of talk. You brought this up not too long ago about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac potentially coming out of the conservatory.
Sure. And I'll say that conversation you and I had off camera. So if you can give a small background on what that means or what that is, and then continue with your what that means.
So 2008, the government bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So ever since then, they owed a certain dollar amount back for bailing them out, and the government has backed every loan that they securitize. So in other words, if it's just like the Federal Reserve, and a lot of people are confused about this. They think, oh, the Federal Reserve paid for it. Well, where's the Federal Reserve get their money?
I'm going to guess taxes.
No, they print it.
They print it. Well, there you go.
And they print it.
And then, they do.
And then there is an invisible tax that we all pay through printing more money. What invisible tax does printing more money create?
Inflation?
Inflation, because inflation comes from adding more money to the supply, the money supply.
Okay.
So as the money in the money supply increases, inflation goes up. So why did we get so much inflation during COVID? We gave everybody money.
Gave everybody money. Yes, we did.
We increased the money supply by this huge amount. And on top of that, the Federal Reserve started buying bonds and treasuries. So they printed money to buy those, and that put more money into the economy, and that created inflation. So during that entire conservatory, they've been paying back the United States government. The government kind of controls what they do in a couple of ways, and then they're still backing every loan. So the fear is if the government pulls them out of the conservatory and says, look, we've got our money back plus billions of dollars, and now we're going to let you go back on your own. And oh yeah, and we're not going to back all of those loans.
Okay.
You now have to back those loans. So the fear there is now the risk of investing in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or those bonds, you've taken away the government's guarantee that they'll be paid.
Okay.
So that makes those potentially have a higher risk. And the only way somebody's going to invest in something that's a higher risk is if it has a higher reward.
All right.
And to have a higher reward, there has to be a better margin on those bonds, which means interest rates potentially could go up.
Oh, man. Okay. So you brought that up as in something potentially going on in real. That is not currently happening, but it is in discussion to potentially happen.
Has been for years. Has been.
Oh, really? Okay.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are in that position of, hey, we've paid you back.
Okay.
If you're a shareholder in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, you're like, hey, wait a minute.
They paid it
back. So there's a piece of that, but then there's a lot of talk that this is going to potentially happen. But like I said, they've been talking about it for a long time. It hasn't happened. But also, Congress could come in and do some things to force Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to work within margins to potentially keep rates low. So, it's one of those things that when you hear people talk about it, because it is, I'm starting to hear it more and more.
Okay.
The likelihood of it actually happening and causing interest rates to skyrocket is really, really slim. Because if you think about it, the government's in charge of all of this, right? And what does the government not want to happen? Interest rates to go any higher.
Definitely.
Than they are. In fact, President Trump is really pushing for interest rates to come down. And he's put a kind of a little bit of a lean on the Fed chairman to listen to him. And, you got to do it. He's really putting some pressure there. So I'm sure that if they knew that, hey, we let them out, the conservatory rates are going to go crazy and mess up the housing market, then we're just not going to let them out.
Yeah.
So most of the things I've read is that it's highly unlikely to see damaging changes.
Okay. Well,
So
as it has been apparently for years, it's all a wait and see.
yeah, it's 100% wait and see. And you don't make the decision, to buy a house based on interest rates anyway. They're cyclical. They work in, multi-year cycles. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. If you don't like where you live, you move.
You move.
And you
call me.
Yeah. No one ever walks into the foyer of your house. Some people don't even have a foyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. They never walk in there and go, oh my gosh, you have a beautiful interest rate.
People say it in my house all the time. I have it posted on the wall.
No interest rate?
Correct. 0.
You think about this though. If you walk to somebody's house and they tell you what their interest rate is, they're lying anyway.
And thanks, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I got a 2%. Good for you. It didn't get that low.
I think my answer might be, that's great. Good for you. And then we move on.
Yeah. So it's a thing, so when if you're renting, there's no reason to continue to rent. You're giving all of the money to the landlord. And I have many friends that have rental properties. They say this to me all the time. It was the best investment I had. I got a renter. He paid for the whole house. Now I own it free and clear. And that guy paid for my whole house. And so not that it's bad to rent. There's a lot of situations to
Absolutely.
rent.
There are people that need to rent, that
it is what it is. On time.
It is what it is. But if there, is an opportunity to actually get out of that, I would highly recommend that you look into it because, as Brad said, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage for them, which doesn't really benefit you.
Buying your house is as smart as signing up for your company's 401k. If you're not doing those two things, when you're 60 years old, you're going to be complaining that you didn't buy a house and that you didn't sign up for your employer's 401k.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That's my dadly advice today.
Well, on that note, it's time for a shot, my friend. I don't carry a weapon.
I didn't either. I just brought out the old finger guns.
We'll be right back.
I'm Brian, your Indianapolis realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell a house in the Indy area, I'm your guy. If you're coming from out of state, want to make a move to the Indy area, I'm your guy. Check out the show notes for a link. We can get in touch and get you started. Thanks for watching. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, Brian.
Well, thanks, Brad. I appreciate that.
I'm excited about the concoction that you've come up with. I feel like we're like a college party girl.
Definitely. Except I think the party girls nowadays drink the seltzers, don't they?
Not when they're doing their funky shots. There's those peach navel shot, or they call it.
Fuzzy navel,
buttery nipples.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a drink. So they order these foo shots.
Okay.
So they're not just drinking like straight whiskey or straight tequila or straight rum. They're going, we want a shot that tastes foo-ish.
The first shot / drink I ever bought for my, at the time, not wife, not girlfriend, someone I wanted to date, was a screaming orgasm. Yeah.
That's screaming orgasm.
That's real.
I don't know what's in that.
Nah, I have no idea. I totally went off the name.
Probably punches you right in the face.
All right. Well, this is a Diet Coke and Sailor Jerry concoction. So here we go.
Cheers.
Welcome to the party. All right.
I tasted your backwash.
You're welcome.
That was not great.
It really was not. It might be better as just a drink as opposed to a shot. Because,
I don't know that I'd like that as a drink.
The Diet Coke and rum,
that's not great.
That's high quality right there.
Great.
You got the right rum. A little bamboo rum. Oh, so good.
Bamboo?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a gin.
Nope, it's a rum.
What's the gin I'm thinking of? Starts with a B.
I do not know. I've only known
Bombay.
Okay, go with that.
Is it called Bombay?
I don't know. I don't drink gin. I don't care for gin.
I don't like gin either. It makes me not a happy person.
Okay, good to know. Brad, now that we have raised our funds for the pantry,
yes,
and have signed up for the marathon, which is only a few short months away in January. Have you started training at all?
It's Bombay rum. It's in that blue bottle.
There you go.
Seen that before.
Thank you.
Seen that?
Yeah. Was that rum or gin?
Gin.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Yeah, of course.
Have I started training?
Yes.
So, no. I am running, but
Okay.
I haven't dove into this is marathon training running because I'm not time yet.
Yeah. Do you have a regiment that you will follow, like a training plan?
I'm going to get that to you as well.
Okay. I have one. So,
Well, and so I have one that worked
okay.
because I used it already.
Yeah, of course.
So I would say if you want to do the same plan, that could also put some runs together.
Oh, well, hey.
To go, this is a 10-mile day.
Okay.
So then we could meet up somewhere and do that 10 miles together. That is because sometimes it's better for me to just go do the run on my own. But there's other times where it's like, this could be a long run, and I
wish I had a running buddy.
Yeah, well, actually, it's more of I wish I had somebody to pace with me to go, okay, because I'm assuming we're going to run this marathon together.
Of course.
Until you stop and ride a ride, and then you are being left.
Okay.
Being left behind.
Good to know.
Because it's hard enough I'm going to go ride the tilt-a-whirl and then come back and run.
I wouldn't ride that if I wasn't running a marathon.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to to run some pace together, through the training. And on the days, like there's a you have to run for 3-hour day.
Okay.
And one of the things that I have found for me is I do like to run a rail trail.
I don't know what that
means. Like a Penske or a Monon or just a nice running trail.
Gotcha.
But I struggle at running an hour and a half out and then turning around and running an hour and a half back. So what Tony and I figured out to do is, hey, you park out, you park 14 miles down there and I'll pick you up and we'll drive to the end of the trail and we'll run 14 miles. You drop me back off the car and go home. And now you're running with scenery that makes your run go a little better. And then you can get back to your car.
It's a good idea.
So there's a couple of big runs. So if we were on that same schedule, which the schedule is pretty easy, it goes, like that first month you run for 30 minutes. The next day you run 30 minutes as fast as you can or 3 miles.
Okay.
The next day is like another 30-minute run. And then maybe on this Saturday, maybe it's a 5-mile run, no run on Sunday. And it puts you into this mode of doing 3 a day, maybe now your run as fast as you can in 30 minutes is a 4-mile run versus a 3-mile run.
Sure.
So you're increasing, but you really only have a few big runs in there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of 10s. There's a mini in it where you run 12 and a half. And then there's a couple 3-hour runs where one of those, Tony and I ran 15 miles in that 3 hours.
Is there in this particular training, is there ever a time where you run the 26 miles? Never. Okay.
No. In fact, the 15, I think, is the most that we ran. And then once you run that run, it actually backs you down to some maintenance runs, and then you're ready for your marathon.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. Vastly different than the one that I'm looking at. So my training, I'll say similar to you. I'm not doing official like marathon training because the one that I went to the Run Disney website.
Okay.
And they have a gentleman who is a former U.S. Olympic athlete who has given a training regimen for any level of runners. So it's not just like, here's the one, everybody do this.
Sure.
So of course I put in the beginner, never having run a marathon plan, and they would be 28 weeks out is when you would start officially. And I calculated back 28 weeks would be sometime in June. So we're a little early for that, but I don't want to necessarily just jump right into that. I want to kind of get things going now. And so I have been for a few weeks now trying to do running 3 days a week. And, for a while it was just a mile and a half or whatever. This past Monday, I actually ran 3 miles, which I can't remember in my life ever running 3 miles. And I felt really good about that. And yesterday, after the day after that, I was feeling okay. Woke up today, my knee hurts. I'm like, I got to deal with this.
Knee brace on.
No, I had them on.
Oh, you did?
But yeah. So, I have a torn meniscus. So there is that. And that's not going to heal itself, but not going to stop me. So anyway,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would have given you a different challenge.
nope, that's fine. It's not debilitating. So, in reading the material from the gentleman from Run Disney, it's interesting because his suggestion is that you run, when you get into the plan of it anyways, Tuesday, Thursday, and then a like mileage run on Saturday. And eventually you do get up to running 26 miles on one of those days. There's another one where it's 23 miles. And then, like you said, it sort of backs you down. But the interesting part to me was when he was talking about when you're running, you should be able to carry on a conversation. If not, then you're going too hard. He talked about the time limit for the Disney Marathon is 7 hours. So based on that, the slowest your pace should be would be 15 or 15 minutes, 30 seconds per mile. I was like, okay. And so there are several benchmarks throughout the training program where he does I don't know if he calls it a monumental mile or a miracle mile or whatever it is, where you really go and then figure out what your pace is for that mile and, judge, okay, are you pushing this too hard? You need to back it down, whatever. Well, as you've seen on Strava with mine, I've been running at like a 1040 to 1050 per mile pace. I'm like, shit, I'm going too fast.
You're doing slower. You're doing shorter runs, so that's not
absolutely.
So,
no, I totally agree. There's no way I could keep that up for a long time.
Tony and I's goal was to do like a 10:30.
Mhm.
That was we wanted to do that as our average, and I did it in 5 hours and 29 minutes. So I think I was 11 something for the whole thing. I'd have to go back to look, but it is something like that, right? Maybe closer to 12. But we're not talking.
Uh-huh.
That was the most irritating thing when in the marathon is there's 35,000 people signed up to run this race. I don't know how many people ran it, but you show this group of people and everybody's running. And there's one guy, just one guy. Man, the other day I was out there with beans at the store. They were $5. I don't want 2 cans. He's like, what? Just shut up. So I would run fast to get away from those people. And then there's feet scooters.
Yeah.
So there's, and you'll speed up to get away from that guy. And then there's stompers. Like just
I like the
their
sound
feet
effect
on the ground. So you run away from those people. And I was fine just running. Tony and I ran together for the first 3 miles and I had to pee and then I lost her. But we would talk a teeny bit, hey, did you see that? You doing okay? Like not conversations, and people talk loud. So at mile like 16, I was so frustrated with the people around me. That's when I turned on my headphones and turned music on.
Okay.
I zoned out of the stomping, scooting, talking people. But I think you pick a pace in the beginning that you feel good at, and then that pace slows, as you go
I would think so.
and then there's a point where the pace is what it is. You just chug in and you go and you go on autopilot.
At any point during your recent marathon, did you walk?
Yes. So, for me, when I got to the water stations, that was 85 degrees when we were running at the end. In the beginning, it was dark. We started 5 in the morning. To the other side of Diamond Point Mountain, I didn't stop for a single water station, and it was dark and it was cool. And it was around mile 12 that it started to get mile 7 was finishing or the beginning of the mountain. Mile 10 was the other end of the mountain. And then we got to 12 and, this is a mini marathon, 12 and a half, and they had a water station. I tried to keep my run pace through that, and I just spilled the water or almost ran into the back of someone else that walked. So at that point, I told myself, I'm going to walk into the station, and it was long enough that I could get 2 cups of water, drink them, 2 cups of water, drink one, pour it on my head. Because again, it was hot.
Yeah, right.
The water's kind of warm.
Yeah.
And then 2 more miles, there'd be another water station, or it'd be a Gatorade station.
Okay.
So I would walk that Gatorade station. The first couple, it felt good to walk and get the drink. And by mile like 18, it hurt more to walk.
Interesting.
Because you're in the
gait is
it's different, and the way you're landing on your feet are different, so the muscles are different. So then when you had to walk, you were like, Frankenstein. Like everything's in the wrong spot. So you're like, ouch, ouch, ouch. And you drank the water as fast as you could. And
Yeah.
you got back into this pace.
Stephanie found some training plan as well. And one of the recommendations in that one was to walk at each water station, because generally if you're jogging and trying to drink the water, you're spilling it all
Yeah,
anyway.
spill it everywhere.
So you might as well walk and use that as your rest time. And then when you're done with the water, just pick it up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, good idea.
The training program that we got, it's handwritten out. Somebody gave it to Brittany, my daughter, when she ran her first marathon. She's ran multiple marathons, and it is a program that worked for her. So when she gave it to us, it worked perfect for us. It fit into our time frames of our work days and all that to be able to run. I always, if it rained, I did on the treadmill instead of, on the road. I won't run in the rain. I won't run in the cold.
Amen,
There's
brother.
certain things that you like. I hate this, but if we show up at the Disney Marathon and it's pouring down rain,
You're not doing it?
it's gonna be hard for me to do it. It's gonna be hard.
I don't disagree, but
Yeah.
we
It's
got
gotta
all
be
the way
warm.
there. We
It better
paid
be
all this
warm,
money.
too.
Well, at 5 in the morning, it ain't gonna be warm.
Give up the money. That's $200.
It's already gone.
It's already gone. That's a spent thing. So I'm praying that it's
So the marathon instead becomes, when it dries out, we drink around the world at Epcot instead.
we do that, and then
Let's go.
We'll schedule a run like in August in Scottsdale to make up for it. Where it's
That
definitely
sounds
rain.
delightful. No.
I will work on getting us a couple of passes to a place called La Cava,
Okay.
which is a tequila bar inside of Mexico
Oh,
in Epcot.
cool.
And supposedly they have one of the greatest tequila selections of any place in the United States.
You and Stephanie will love it.
You're going to have a few that you might like as well. I have shown you a couple that you wear.
I'm just thinking, how do they have a better tequila selection than this joint?
I'm missing a lot.
Wow.
There's a lot I don't.
Okay, you say so.
So I am excited about the marathon.
I am. Oddly enough, I am. It's interesting, as I was doing my first ever 3-mile run on Monday. While I was running it, I was like, how the hell am I ever going to do 26 miles? And then a few steps later, I would tell myself, you've never run 3 miles before. You got this. Just keep going. So that's how that's going to be. We're just going to just keep going.
There is a thing called a runner's high.
Yeah, I've heard about that nonsense.
And I'm going to say for me, it's not in a 3 and it's not in a 5. It's anything I do that's over 5 miles. At the 5-mile mark, if I haven't talked myself into just stopping, which that's one thing I have a challenge of. I say I'm going to run 5 miles and I feel really good, I'm done. Because I said I was going to run 5. I'll walk my.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the key is to park in a place that when you run, if you say you want to run 10 miles, you got to park in a place that you're not back by your car near 5, because you'll get in the car.
It's right there.
Right. But when you do hit that after 5, going into 6 and 7, to me, your brain just goes into the run and you're just running.
And I'll have you there with me to hold my hand. And
now, are you listening to anything while you're running?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
I realize I need to get a much better runner's playlist, because I don't have that. I just have songs.
Book. I listen to a book.
A book, yeah.
Podcast or a book. I would suggest that you listen to Tasting Tequila with Brad the entire time.
That sounds delightful.
There's a playlist up there of just my podcast that you can just listen to while you're running.
I could be listening to you while running with you and not talking to you. Did you hear that? Did you catch that?
That one? That's a good one.
Which one to listen to?
No, I would say get a book, especially for the. I said that wrong. Especially for the marathon.
Words in the last 2 minutes you've said wrong.
What was the other?
Supposedly.
How do you say it?
There's no B in the word supposedly. Nope, there's no B, Joey Tribbiani.
You ever go to the toilet?
No, I do not.
Me either. I would suggest getting like a book that you can listen to in 5 hours. That way, if you get into a place where you need to get your brain out of running, you can, and the book's there to keep you going.
All right, well,
I do think the excitement of the whole thing and the people and the cheering and all the stuff that's going on and the signs and the Disney characters, going to get chased.
And the rides.
Goofy or something. We're not riding any rides. That
We may not be.
we are not.
I might
If
be.
you stop and ride a ride, you will not finish the marathon. I'm going to tell you, the minute you sit down,
That is false.
you are done.
I'm there to finish. It's gonna be fun.
There's a point where, for me, like I said, where little things just started to annoy me so much that I had to get out. Now, I listened to music for that run. I had a book on that I could use to get my brain off of thinking about what I was doing, but the music did it perfect for me. And yes, you need to put together some of your favorite music to run to.
That'll happen. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, my man.
Thanks for everybody that did donate and help. And I think total, aren't we over $3,000?
No, well, our total raise was like over 1,400. I don't think we hit 15, and then you matched 1,000 of that. So
right, and then didn't the other guy match 1,000 as well?
I'm sorry, I totally forgot about JC. That's right. Yeah. So yes, we are over 3,000. So
Eric Cake, he just tossed in.
Eric Cake just tossed us, and Rachel Campbell came in strong with some more money this week. So it's awesome. So thanks to all of you. Thanks for watching. We're glad you're here. Cheers to you, my friend. See you next time on Real Estate Makes Us Drink.